if looks could kill, this fight would have solved world peace. I mean, let's be honest, it's ugly as hell. It's this raw, disgusting slapfest. I, as the viewer, just sat there in awe like, what the fuck, what am I watching? But it wasn't always like this. This is the second phase of a critical fight in the series, and this video aims to explain why the fight is the way that it is. Many people have expressed their disappointment in this fight, and I plan on trying to ease them up a bit. As the old adage goes, never judge a book by its cover, but I guess you can judge animation by its frames. This video's purpose is to make you think not of how it looks, but the point of it. The second half of the Naruto and Pain fight is often looked at as a clear case of bad animation. Not in the technical sense in that it looks choppy, but that character models look off at every point. When looking at it, it appears to be a fight with only in-betweens and no key frames, making for one of the smoothest fights in the show at the cost of the quality of the frames. However, when judging the animation of anything, the context is important in finding the reason why it looks the way it does. So what is the context of the Naruto and Pain fight? The Naruto and Pain fight spans 8 episodes starting on episode 163 to episode 172 of Naruto Shippuden. It's important to note that the Naruto and Pain fight didn't start off looking this way. There are 3 parts to this fight. The first part is logical, while the second part is more emotional, and the last is a combination of the two. Before the fight, we're given plenty of context of what the Pains are from Jiraiya and his encounters with them. Furthermore, we're told what Naruto and Pain are doing right before this fight. Naruto is on Mount Miyaboku training for his Sage mode. Before he enters the village again, Naruto comes back to enter the fight with 6 toads, a scroll to reverse summon and use up 2 Sage clones, and some background info gathered by Jiraiya. At the same time, Pain starts his invasion into the Leaf Village by splitting up and attacking major threats. This includes Kakashi, Tsunade, Kiba, Shino, and many more. To say the least, both of these characters came to this fight prepared with many plans to beat the other. In the beginning phases, it's incredibly logical, almost like a chess match, with each character taking turns to beat the other. We can see this in how Naruto and Pain's approach the fight. At the beginning, Naruto starts the fight off by using the toads to hold off Pain's summoning jutsu to take down the chakra-absorbing Pain via physical combat. It's incredibly smart and shows how Naruto didn't get into the fight trying to attack the main Pain like we'd expect. At another point, Naruto has Granny and Grandpa Toad create a cloud of debris, which he uses to take another Pain into Gamabunto's mouth. This shows that Naruto is aware that the Pains are all linked via vision, and he uses that to make a tactical pick on one when the others don't expect it. After the chakra-absorbing Pain comes back into the fight by the reviving Pain in the back, Naruto deals with them extremely well. Naruto uses smoke bombs to then surprise them with the Rasen Shuriken. When the chakra-absorbing Pain jumps in front of the main Pain to absorb the blow, it's revealed that the Shuriken was actually just a clone in disguise, thus allowing Naruto to hold down the chakra-absorbing Pain for a bit so that another clone could take down the reviving Pain in the back. This mostly covers Naruto's side of the fight, so now I want to mention the Pains and how they worked in the fight. The positioning of the Pains is very thought out. Most of the brute force and heavier melee fighters are positioned very up front to work as sort of tanks. The first people in the fight were the mechanical Pain, which was taken out as soon as Naruto arrived, and the chakra-absorbing Pain. We can even see how the default state of the Pains is to protect the main Pain. This is seen when the chakra-absorbing Pain jumps in front of Yahiko to absorb the Rasen Shuriken. After that, we had the Pain that used summoning jutsus, which shows why she was positioned in the middle of her posse. And that's because she's decent in one-on-one combat, but really stands no chance against Naruto. And most of her power comes in the form of her summoning jutsus doing the fighting for her. And lastly in this fight was the main Pain and the Reviver. The attention to detail to put the reviving Pain all the way in the back is smart because it tells us all we need to know about that Pain. It's not much of a fighter, more as it is to enhance the powers of what the team already has. It's meant to act as a safety net in the case things go really bad. And obviously the main Pain is sort of an all-purpose Pain. He's the strongest Pain and able to move freely and get assistance by any Pain closest to it. Everything surrounds him, and that's because he is the endgame to their plan. As mentioned earlier, this part of the fight is pretty damn logical, and it really does feel like a chess match watching 2 highly competent fighters using and incorporating different parts of their pieces to get the checkmate. But by the time we see the uglier animation, it loses that logic. One side screams, "My Pain is greater than yours," and the other roars back. After Hinata steps in and is nearly killed by Pain, seeing her hurt causes Naruto to explode in anger and summon the tailed beast within him. To me at least, bad animation is animation that fails to tell you the story in the presentation that fits its goals. Obviously it's subjective what the animation's goal is, but I think good reason and open-mindedness can allow you to see things differently. Maybe that thing you called bad animation isn't so bad. Maybe it was done with a purpose. Animation is a language, and if it's bad, it lacks clarity and communication. If it's bad, you're sitting there wondering, what was the purpose of this? but I'm here to say the second part of this fight completely makes sense in how it looks to me. It may not be pretty, but if you're going into this part of the fight still expecting the regular animation, you're missing the point. The battle is undeniably important for both. However, during the second half of the battle, the meaning is lost. At first calm and logical, but after giving it to hatred, what's left is a beast and a puppet throwing a tantrum. People died in this fight. Friends got hurt. This was by far the most high-stakes fight in the series back then. The introduction of the tailed beast in this fight is meant to act as a way to show hatred. The tailed beast in this fight means chaos and anger. So now that we understand the context, I want to explain how this animation illustrates this. Upon first glance, the animation looks poor because of the contorted faces and bodies, but it displays the sheer force of these two primitive characters. As mentioned before, animation is a language, and from what I see, this appears to be a fight based on emotions. Pain's face only looks contorted during this, and this, because it's meant to showcase the impact and speed of these characters. The second half of this battle isn't about wits, it's about two primal characters pummeling each other to death. It's a battle of hatred, one side wanting revenge, and the other side acting on pure rage. Seeing the first half and its animation being the usual look for a Naruto fight is expected because Naruto fights are usually logical. The second half is a smooth and visceral experience capturing the rising anger between the two characters. It's fast and cartoonish at times, but it's meant to display the force at which both characters are at to kill each other. Finally, the last half of this fight is a confrontation between Naruto and Nagato, the puppeteer of the Pains. In it, Naruto and Nagato argue over their views. When fighting Pain, Naruto exclaims that he would kill Pain for what he did to the Leaf Village. Pain retorts this by saying that he's only doing what the Leaf Village has done to the Hidden Rain Village. At the time, Naruto didn't understand, but when Nagato explains the story, Naruto starts to piece it together. He understands that because of what the Hidden Leaf did at the Hidden Rain Village, it caused hatred to grow. In this instance, within 3 little war orphans, and this caused the downfall of the Leaf Village. It sort of implies a theoretical future, that someone from the Leaf Village in the future with power could act on their hatred for the Hidden Rain Village when Pain attacked, thus causing a loop of ongoing hatred. At the core of Nagato's message was that the great nations like the Land of Fire proclaimed creating peace, but their peace was built atop of the sacrifices of smaller nations. To the great nations they saw peace, but to the smaller nations they saw violence. And let's be honest, this is a completely valid thing to be angered by. These things happened in our own world, and even scarier, they could be happening now. So when Nagato tries to find Naruto's answer to all the hate in the world, Naruto doubles down on Jiraiya's stance. Naruto believes that, just like Jiraiya, the belief in peace can be enough to strive for peace. And in Naruto's words, he has faith that he'll become Hokage, and that when that day comes, he'll make amends with the Hidden Rain Village. Jiraiya said, "When you're hurt, you learn to hate. On the other hand, when you hurt someone, you are resented, and you start to feel guilty as well. However, understanding such pain enables you to be kind to others. Knowing pain helps us to grow and mature." This quote is exactly what summarizes the meeting between Naruto and Nagato. Naruto understands the pain because when he was hurt from seeing his village destroyed, he understood the pain Nagato had gone through. But instead of acting on it the way Nagato did with violence, he wants to find peace and talking it out. Naruto's answer by his actions here is that to make peace, you don't make it out of violence, but by burying the hatchet. If you return fire, you only risk peace continuing to slip out of your grasp, because when that peace is broken, you may not be there to stop the cycle of hatred. As all fights in anime, conflicts are there because 2 or more characters have conflicts in views. The second part of the fight is meant to throw away the views, and to capture the essence of conflict. 2 people that truly hate one another. And the third part is meant to act as a juxtaposition for the second part. It's logical because it tackles the way each sees the world, and tries to find common ground for each. They both want peace, and by understanding each other and their pain, they can stop the cycle of hatred. This third part was meant to vocalize the same anger they had between each other in the second part. That's the purpose of the second part of the fight. It's not its own thing. You cannot just look at the animation independently of the rest of the fight, because that animation was meant to portray an animalistic hate, which would get contextualized later on in the third part. You can dislike the way it looks, you can say the animators fell asleep making this, but you can't tell me the animators didn't know what they were doing. This video's purpose isn't to make you like the look of the second part of the fight, it's meant to make you look at it differently. Maybe you can see what I've said, and take this to think more critically on anime you think have bad animation. Perhaps there's a reason behind why it looks the way it does. Perhaps there's an emotion that animation really wants to evoke to the viewer. That's up to you to find for future works. I've done my part trying to raise awareness on this fight's purpose. Hopefully you guys can take something away from that. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, you can hit the subscribe button and leave me a like for feedback. It's free and you can take it back whenever you want.